Transit Authority is a vital service for people all across the city of Memphis as the city's only public transportation provider and one of the largest in the state. Here with me today is the interim CEO of MATA, John Lewis. Thank you so much for coming in today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, I have to ask you this question because one of my coworkers told me it was a really interesting story how you got involved in public transport, why you got involved in public transportation or your experience with public transportation.
Well, growing up in Baltimore, my grandmother, both my parents worked. My mom was an elementary school teacher and went on to be a school principal. My father was an administrator for the state of Maryland. And so my grandmother came to live with us after my grandfather passed away. She never learned to drive a car, never got a license. She depended on the Maryland Transit Administration for her mobility options.
Right.
As a child, I always couldn't understand, like, Grandma, why can't we ride around like everybody else in the neighborhood? But looking back, never would I realize that that would be my choice and vocation. And I always became grounded in that without public transit, my grandmother's life would have been very, very different. And so I always remember that, and the decisions that we make, the actions that we take, I always look through it through the lens of how it would have impacted my grandmother if not for public transit.
Right, and that's very important especially for a city like Memphis as
Sure.
well. We've done a number of stories recently about MATA's $60 million budget deficit. Where does that stand right now?
So we're still, at MATA, we're still in a financial hole. We're slowly crawling our way out. We just passed the first balanced budget in 4 years at MATA. Presented that to the City Council just a couple of weeks ago. But budgets are tight all around. And so it's going to take a while for us to crawl out of that. What we wanted to do was stabilize the agency. You know, for us in MATA, reliability is our North Star and stabilization is our mantra. And we've got to make sure that that continues to play out even after the interim team leaves the agency.
Right.
And so that's what we really wanted to instill in the agency with our work there.
Okay. And I know that you've got $30 million in this coming from the city's budget. Is that enough to run things efficiently, do you think? For now?
We're going to make it enough. Our budget is $60 million. Half of that comes from the city. The rest comes from state and federal grants and the fares that we receive from our passengers. Right. And so we're going to live within our means. We're going to make good decisions. And we've instilled financial stability at the agency, and we're going to make it work.
All right. What about long-term funding solutions for MATA? I know you're only going to be here for you're only here for 8 months, but are you working on long-term solutions as well?
So that's a issue that our board of commissioners, and I got to tell you, we have a fantastic group of volunteer servant leaders at MATA. No one is working harder on this than that board of commissioners. And they are leaving no stone unturned in that. While we, as the transformation team, are working on the day-to-day activities, that board is really looking at it from a long-term lens. And they are really working on partnerships, both public and private, and looking at that long-term lens. And I think as time goes on, they will be thinking about other means of coming up with other options for funding for the agency. But right now, our focus is on making sure that buses arrive when they are supposed to on a daily basis so that our customers can rely on that.
Right. We'll talk more about that in just a minute, but I also want to talk about, you were named interim CEO in January, and you were one of 3 8-month leadership positions. What happens after the 8 months are up? You leave, and then what?
So we're working very hard to fill those positions right now. We're in the final stages of recruiting a chief financial officer for the agency, and we've got some fantastic candidates. So we're really excited about it. Memphis is a place people want to be. And so we're attracting great candidates on that, and we're already recruiting, doing a national search for the chief executive officer, and we're very, very pleased with the candidates that are showing interest in that position, and working with on the chief operations officer through our private provider, our ATP Dev, which is an international mobility provider. And so when we exit, we're going to leave the agency in good hands with experienced professionals who will continue to move the agency forward.
Very good. Well, we have to take a break right now, but we're not done with you. If you don't mind sticking around for just a minute, we're going to talk a little bit more about some complaints from writers. We're also going to talk about the trolleys. We're going to talk about the trolleys in Memphis. Memphians love their trolleys. All when we come back after this break.